The shadows in your living room are stretching longer than usual, and for the first time in your life, the silence isn't peaceful, it's heavy. You reach for the light switch, but nothing happens. You check your phone, but the bars have vanished, replaced by a hollow "no service" notification. Outside, the rhythmic hum of the city has been replaced by a distant, frantic cacophony of sirens and shouting. You look at the corner of your closet where it sits. The bag. The 72-hour kit you bought online, filled with shiny mylar blankets, a handful of protein bars, and a plastic water filter. You've been told this bag is your lifeline, your ticket to survival. But as the world outside begins to fracture, a cold realization settles in your chest. You've been sold a lie. Before we pull back the curtain on why everything you think you know about emergency prep is dangerously wrong, make sure to subscribe to Survive 72 and hit the bell icon. Understanding the truth is the first step toward actually surviving it. The mystery we are investigating today isn't a crime committed by a person, but a crime of misinformation committed by an industry. It is the 72-hour lie. For decades, the gold standard of preparedness has been the 3-day bag. The logic seems sound on the surface. Most localized disasters, like a moderate hurricane or a temporary power outage, are resolved within 3 days. Emergency services usually regain control, and supply chains resume, but we are no longer living in a world of localized hiccups. We are looking at a landscape of systemic fragility. To solve the mystery of why your gear will fail you, we have to look at the evidence of past collapses and the physical reality of human biological needs versus the marketing promises of the survival industry. Let's begin our investigation by looking at the timeline of a true grid-down scenario. Imagine a massive cyber attack on the electrical infrastructure or a coordinated physical strike on substations. In the first hour, there is confusion. In the first 12 hours, there is denial. By the 24th hour, the grocery store shelves are empty. By the 48th hour, the water pressure in most urban high-rises has vanished because the electric pumps are dead. By the 72nd hour, the exact moment your survival bag is supposed to have completed its job, the real crisis is only just beginning. The lie is the assumption that someone is coming to save you on day 4. If the grid is down, there is no cavalry. There is no FEMA truck turning the corner with fresh water. The mystery isn't how to survive for 3 days, it's why we were ever told that 3 days was enough. When we examine the contents of a standard, store-bought bug-out bag, we find the evidence of inadequacy. Most of these kits are designed for comfort during a wait, not survival during a collapse. Take the food, for example. Most kits provide roughly 1,200 calories a day in the form of high sugar bars. In a high-stress, high-activity survival situation where you are hiking with weight or fortifying a home, your body burns upwards of 3,000 calories. By day 2, you're in a massive caloric deficit. Your cognitive functions begin to slide. You make poor decisions. You become irritable and lose the mental clarity required to navigate a crisis. The mystery deepens when we look at water. A life straw or a small bottle of purification tablets is great for a weekend hike. But in a grid-down scenario, water isn't just for drinking. It's for hygiene, for cleaning wounds, and for cooking. A 72-hour kit treats water as a luxury, but in a real collapse, it is the primary point of failure. Consider the case of the 2021 Texas power grid failure. It wasn't a total apocalypse, yet for millions, it lasted far longer than 3 days. Those who relied on 3-day kits found themselves freezing in the dark by the 4th night, with no means of generating heat once their small supply of tea lights or hand warmers ran out. This is the threshold of despair. The industry sells you a bag that gets you to the threshold, but leaves you standing there naked when the door to the real crisis opens. The mystery we must solve is how to transition from a waiter, someone waiting for help, to a survivor, someone who is the help. The first clue in solving this mystery is the weight-to-utility ratio. Many preppers fall into the trap of tactical hoarding. They fill their bags with knives, fire starters, and camouflage gear, believing that looking like a soldier makes them resilient. But if we investigate the actual causes of death in displacement scenarios, it isn't a lack of knives. It's exposure, dehydration, and infection. Your bag will fail because it is likely filled with cool items rather than essential systems. A system is different from an item. A fire starter is an item. The ability to maintain core body temperature in a rainstorm is a system. Most bug-out bags are a collection of items with no systemic cohesion. Furthermore, we must address the location paradox. The 72-hour lie assumes you are bugging out to a magical destination that is better than where you currently are. But where is that? If you live in a city of millions and everyone hits the road at the same time, the highway becomes a linear parking lot. Your car becomes a metal coffin. If your survival plan relies on a bag and a vehicle, you haven't prepared for a survival scenario. You've prepared for a traffic jam. The mystery of true survival lies in staying power or calculated movement, neither of which is supported by a flimsy 3-day backpack. Let's look at the social collapse factor. In the first 72 hours of a major blackout, social cohesion usually holds. Neighbors talk to each other, people share flashlights. But as the clock ticks toward the 96-hour mark and the 100-hour mark, the psychology changes. Human beings are governed by the rule of threes: 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter in extreme weather, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. As people hit the 3-day mark without water or a clear sign of relief, desperation sets in. If your bag only prepared you for the polite phase of the disaster, you are utterly unprepared for the desperate phase. The mystery of the 72-hour lie is that it ignores the most dangerous element of any collapse: other people who didn't prepare at all. To truly solve this and build a kit that works, we have to investigate the deep prep philosophy. This means moving away from the bag and toward the cache and skill set. If you're relying on a backpack to save your life, you've already lost the investigative lead. A backpack is a bridge, not a home. The investigation shows that the most successful survivors in history, from those who lived through the siege of Sarajevo to survivors of hyperinflation in South America, didn't rely on a pre-packed retail kit. They relied on a modular readiness system. This system breaks down into 5 pillars that the 72-hour lie ignores. First, long-term water procurement. Not a straw, but the knowledge of where local aquifers are and the heavy-duty filtration systems to process hundreds of gallons. Second, thermal regulation. Not a mylar blanket that tears like tissue paper, but high-quality wool and the ability to create microclimates. Third, caloric security. Not sugar bars, but dense, nutrient-rich fats and proteins that sustain muscle mass. Fourth, community intelligence. Knowing who your neighbors are and who can be trusted before the lights go out. And fifth, the pace mindset. Knowing that a disaster is a marathon, not a sprint. The mystery of the 72-hour lie is finally unmasked when we realize who benefits from it. It benefits companies that want to sell you a set it and forget it solution. They want you to feel a false sense of security, so you'll spend $100 and put the bag in the closet, never thinking about it again. But true survival is an active process. It is a constant investigation of your surroundings, your gear, and your own physical limits. The bag is not a talisman that wards off evil, it is a toolkit that is only as good as the person holding it. As we conclude this investigation into the failure of modern prepping standards, the evidence is clear. The 72-hour kit is a starting point, but if it is your ending point, you are preparing to fail. You must extend your timeline. You must move from 3 days to 3 weeks, and eventually to 3 months of self-sufficiency. The world is changing, and the old rules of emergency management are melting away under the heat of global instability. You cannot rely on a system that is stretched to its breaking point, even in good times. If you found this investigation eye-opening and want to dive deeper into the specific systems that actually work, from water purification to long-term food storage and home security, you need to be part of this community. This is not just about gear, it's about the intelligence required to use it. Click the subscribe button now and join Survive 72. We provide the blueprints for the scenarios everyone else is too afraid to talk about. Don't let your story end at the 72-hour mark. Prepare for the long haul, stay vigilant, and remember, the best time to prepare was yesterday, but the second best time is right now. Watch our next video on how to build a level 2 sustainment kit that picks up exactly where your bug-out bag fails. Stay safe out there. Now let's peel back the next layer of this onion. If the 72-hour mark is a psychological trap, then what lies beyond the threshold? To truly understand the level 2 sustainment mindset, we have to look at the anatomy of a prolonged crisis, the kind the evening news refuses to simulate because the implications are too terrifying for the average consumer. When we talk about moving from 3 days to 3 weeks, we aren't just talking about adding more cans of beans to your pantry. We are talking about a fundamental shift in your metabolic and operational reality. In a 72-hour window, your body can survive on adrenaline and stored glycogen. You can endure a lack of sleep. You can tolerate mild dehydration. But at day 4, the biological debt starts to come due. This is where the standard bug-out bag fails you. Most kits are designed to keep you alive, but they aren't designed to keep you functional. The metabolic cliff. Why calories aren't just numbers. In a level 2 scenario, your caloric needs don't just stay steady, they skyrocket. If you are bugging out, navigating debris, or even just high-stress homesteading during a blackout, you are burning through 3,000 to 4,000 calories a day. The typical 72-hour kit provides maybe 1,200 to 1,500 calories per day in the form of high sugar bars or dehydrated salt bombs. By day 5, your cognitive functions begin to erode. You start making low glucose decisions. You lose your ability to navigate, you become irritable with your family or group, and your fine motor skills, the kind needed to start a fire or fix a radio, vanish. To bridge the gap to 3 weeks, we must transition from emergency rations to sustainment nutrition. This means focusing on macronutrient density and, more importantly, glycemic stability. You need fats. In a long-term survival situation, fat is your best friend because it provides 9 calories per gram compared to the 4 calories provided by carbs or protein. We're talking about olive oil packets, nut butters, and pemmican. If your bag doesn't have a high fat-to-carb ratio, you're building a Ferrari with a 1-gallon gas tank. You'll look good for the first mile, but you'll be pushing the car for the next 20. The water myth. Beyond the life straw. Let's talk about the most dangerous lie in the prepping industry, the one-filter-fits-all solution. Everyone has a life straw or a Sawyer Mini tucked into their bag. They think, I have this, so I have water. This is a level 1 mistake. A filter is a great tool for a hiker, but in a level 2 societal collapse or major urban disaster, the water isn't just dirty, it's chemically compromised. If the power grid stays down for more than 72 hours, water treatment plants stop, pressure drops, backflow occurs. This means heavy metals, pesticides, and industrial runoff begin to seep into the main lines. Your standard hollow fiber membrane filter, the kind in 99% of bug-out bags, does absolutely nothing against chemicals, viruses, or heavy metals. It only stops bacteria and protozoa. To survive the long gap, you need a multi-stage purification strategy. You need a primary filter for sediment, a secondary activated carbon stage to scrub chemicals and odors, and a tertiary chemical treatment like iodine or chlorine dioxide or UV treatment to kill viruses. If you aren't thinking about the chemical profile of your water after day 3, you aren't preparing. You're just gambling with dysentery. The hygiene wall, the silent killer. History shows us that in prolonged disasters, more people die from poor hygiene and sanitation than from violence or starvation. In the first 72 hours, you can get away with being a bit grimy. By day 10, a small blister on your foot from walking in damp socks becomes a staph infection. Without antibiotics or a sterile environment, that infection becomes systemic. A level 2 kit prioritizes body maintenance. This includes high-potency antifungal powders, medical-grade wet wipes, because you won't be wasting your drinking water on a bath, and a comprehensive foot care protocol. If you are immobilized because your feet are rotting, you are a liability to yourself and your group. You need to view your body as a machine that requires daily maintenance. This is why we advocate for the rule of 2. 2 pairs of high-quality merino wool socks on your person and 2 in the bag. 1 pair on the feet, 1 pair drying on the outside of the pack. It sounds simple, but it's the difference between being a survivor and being a patient. The psychology of the grind. Now let's move into the headspace. The first 72 hours are defined by the shock. Everything is new, scary, and fast-paced. But as you move into the second week, a new enemy emerges, the grind. This is the soul-crushing realization that help isn't coming, the lights aren't turning back on, and this is your new life. This is where comfort items move from being dead weight to mission essential gear. A small bottle of Tabasco sauce, a deck of cards, a physical book, or a picture of your family. These aren't luxuries, they are psychological anchors. They prevent survival apathy, a state where individuals simply give up and wait to die. In our advanced training modules, we emphasize the 5-minute vacation. Every day, no matter how dire the situation, you take 5 minutes to do something that makes you feel human. You brew a cup of coffee, you read a page of a book, you brush your teeth. These rituals maintain the barrier between a civilized human being and a desperate animal. The infrastructure of security, moving beyond the lone wolf. If you are still thinking about survival as a lone wolf carrying a backpack into the woods, you are living in a cinematic fantasy. Real survival is communal. After 72 hours, the golden hour of government response has passed. The police are busy protecting critical infrastructure or their own families. Looting and civil unrest often peak between days 4 and 7. Your level 2 strategy must include social engineering. Who are your neighbors? Do you know who is a nurse? Who is a mechanic? Who has a generator? If you haven't built a micro-community before the crisis, you'll be seen as a target or a stranger when the crisis hits. Your bag should have items that allow you to be an asset to others, not just a consumer. Extra lighters, extra salt, extra cordage. These are trade goods. They are the currency of the new world. By providing value to a group, you secure your own safety far more effectively than any firearm ever could. The energy deficit, powering the modern survivor. We live in a digital age, and while many preppers preach going analog, the reality is that information is power. Your phone is a GPS, a library of medical manuals, and a communication tool, but by hour 48, your phone is a glass brick. A level 2 kit requires a sustainable energy ecosystem. This means portable solar arrays at least 21 watts to be effective, and high-capacity power banks. But more importantly, it means energy discipline. You don't leave your devices on. You pull the data you need, then you kill the power. You need to understand the phantom drain of your gear. If you are relying on batteries, are they lithium or alkaline? In cold weather, your alkalines will die in the bag before you even use them. Level 2 prepping is about understanding the physics of your equipment, not just the brand name on the box. The stay or go calculus. The 96-hour pivot. One of the most critical decisions you will ever make is the pivot point. Usually this happens around the 96-hour mark. This is when you decide if your current location is a stronghold or a trap. If you are in an urban apartment and the water has been off for 4 days, the sewage system is likely backing up. The hallways are becoming unsanitary. The 72-hour lie told you to stay put and wait for instructions. But the level 2 reality tells you that if you don't move now, you will be trapped by the deteriorating conditions. We teach a system called environmental trigger points. You don't decide to leave based on a feeling, you leave based on data. Trigger 1, loss of secondary water source. Trigger 2, civil unrest within a 3-block radius. Trigger 3, failure of local sanitation. When these triggers are met, you execute your Phase 2 movement plan. This isn't bugging out in a panic. It's a tactical relocation to a pre-scouted secondary site. The gear of the long haul, quality over quantity. As we look at the physical kit for level 2, we have to talk about durability tiers. A 72-hour bag can be a cheap nylon pack from a big box store. It only has to last 3 days. But a sustainment pack needs to be overbuilt. We're talking 500D to 1000D Cordura. We're talking about YKK zippers that won't burst when you overstuff the bag with extra winter layers. Your tools must also shift. A folding pocket knife is fine for opening MREs, but for level 2, you need a fixed blade with a full tang. You need a tool that can split wood, build shelter, and defend your life without the risk of a folding mechanism failing. You need a Silcock key, a small cross-shaped tool that allows you to open external water spigots on commercial buildings. This is the kind of urban survival gear that the standard kits miss. In a city, a Silcock key is worth more than 1,000 rounds of ammunition. It is the key to the city's hidden water reserves. The medical transition, from band-aids to trauma care. The medical kit in a 72-hour bag is usually a joke. A few adhesive bandages, some aspirin, and maybe a packet of triple antibiotic ointment. That is a boo-boo kit. For level 2, you need a trauma and infection kit. 1. Hemostatic agents, quick clot, or Kellogg's to stop major bleeding. 2. Tourniquets, real ones, Cat Gen 7, not homemade rags. 3. Broad-spectrum antibiotics, acquired via a doctor or specialized survival medical services. In a long-term scenario, a sinus infection or a urinary tract infection can be a death sentence. 4. Dental repair kit. You haven't known agony until you have a cracked molar with no dentist in sight. A small tube of temporary filling material can keep you in the fight. 5. Sutures versus staples. We recommend medical staples for the layperson. They are faster, easier to apply to yourself, and have a lower risk of trapping infection than traditional stitches. The invisible skill, situational awareness, SA. As the days turn into weeks, your greatest asset isn't in your bag, it's between your ears. We call this the baseline. Every environment has a baseline, the normal sights, sounds, and smells. In the first 72 hours, the baseline is shattered. By day 10, a new baseline is established. The successful survivor learns the new normal. They notice when the birds stop chirping in a specific park, indicating someone is moving through it. They notice the smell of wood smoke, indicating someone is cooking nearby. They notice the absence of the normal and the presence of the abnormal. This is high-level intelligence gathering. If you're walking around with headphones in or your head down, you're already dead. You must be a student of your environment. The communication void. Beyond the cell tower. When the cellular networks fail, and they will, either through physical damage or network congestion, how do you get information? If your only source of news is your Twitter feed, you are blind. A level 2 kit must include a high-quality world band radio or an SDR, software-defined radio. You need to be able to listen to shortwave broadcasts from other countries to get an objective view of what is happening in your own. You should also have a GMRS or ham radio setup. But remember, listening is more important than talking. In a high-threat environment, transmitting a signal is like lighting a flare. It tells everyone exactly where you are. We teach signal discipline. You listen for 55 minutes of the hour, and you only transmit for a few seconds if absolutely necessary, using pre-arranged codes. The reality of self-defense. The gray man strategy. In a prolonged crisis, looking like a prepper is a liability. If you're wearing camo pants, a tactical vest, and a backpack covered in molar webbing, you are telling the world, I have gear, I have food, and I am a threat. The level 2 survivor utilizes the gray man concept. You want to look like just another tired, slightly disheveled person trying to get by. Your high-end gear should be hidden. Your backpack should look like an ordinary school or hiking bag. Your defensive tools should be concealed. The goal is to be invisible through commonality. You don't want to be the lion. You want to be the blade of grass that the lion walks right over. The transition to sustainability. The final frontier. As we move towards the conclusion of this level 2 deep dive, we have to address the end game. A 72-hour bag is about escaping. A 21-day kit is about enduring. But eventually, you have to stop surviving and start living. This means transitioning from stored resources to renewable resources. Instead of just storing water, you learn to harvest rainwater. Instead of just storing food, you learn the basics of microgardening or foraging. Instead of just storing batteries, you master the art of solar positioning. The 72-hour lie wants you to believe that the crisis will be a short, sharp shock, and then things will return to normal. But history, from the Great Depression to the collapse of the Soviet Union to modern-day Venezuela, tells a different story. Normal is a fragile consensus that can vanish overnight. Conclusion, your new timeline starts now. We've covered a lot of ground. We've dismantled the myth of the 3-day window and looked into the dark reality of the weeks that follow. This isn't meant to scare you, it's meant to empower you. Fear comes from the unknown. Power comes from the plan. By expanding your timeline, you're moving from a victim of circumstance to a master of your environment. You're no longer waiting for a government agency to hand you a bottle of water and a thermal blanket. You are the one with the filtration system, the medical knowledge, and the community connections to lead others through the dark. But this is only the beginning. The Level 2 mindset is a discipline that requires constant refinement. You need to test your gear. You need to go out into the woods or into the city and spend 48 hours living out of your bag. Find the failure points now, while the stakes are low. Does your stove work in the wind? Do your boots give you blisters after 5 miles? Does your radio actually pick up signals in the valley where you live? If you are ready to take the next step, to move beyond the beginner kits and into the world of professional grade sustainment, you found the right place. We are building a repository of knowledge that the mainstream media won't touch. We're talking about the black swan events, the grid down realities, and the long-term strategies that actually save lives. Don't let your preparation be a set it and forget it task. It is a living, breathing part of your life. Stay tuned for our upcoming deep dive into urban foraging and scavenging, where we show you how to find resources in a concrete jungle after the stores have been picked clean. The world is changing. The old safety nets are fraying. It's time to build your own. Stay vigilant, stay prepared, and most importantly, stay ahead of the clock. The 72-hour mark is just the beginning of the story. Make sure you're around to see the end of it. See you in the next investigation. This is Survive 72, signing off.